Welcome to the part of the week that matters the most. It's Wealth Matters, your wealth matters. Damn. I'm Warren, I'm a banker in the City of London and I'm here to make wealth building simple and accessible. Today, I'm responding to a comment that I got on one of my videos. It's one of my earlier videos and it's still the top performing video on my channel, and it talks about wealth building in the UK. And in it, I break down the top 3 sources of wealth in the UK according to government statistics, which are property, pensions, and financial investments, mainly stocks and shares and bonds. I got a very interesting comment on that video. I saw it the other day and I thought I need to make a video on that. So I'm going to read it out now verbatim and then we'll go through it bit by bit and talk about it some more. So it goes like this. Net wealth, all in debt. If you aren't cash rich, you aren't really rich, in my opinion. Even those with £1 million property portfolio, it's all debt. Also, pensions are a scam. It's all designed to keep you a slave. Slavery has not gone anywhere. Hashtag slave with benefits. He even gave me a hashtag there, like it. Sometimes comments equal content. So first of all, guys, what are your thoughts on this comment, right? He started off by saying net wealth, all in debt. If you aren't cash rich, you aren't really rich, in my opinion. So let's study this comment bit by bit because it's a very interesting one. First of all, he says net wealth, all in debt. If you aren't cash rich, you aren't really rich, in my opinion. So the very first sentence, we need to do a little bit of correction there. It says net wealth, all in debt. Well, net wealth is equal to your assets, so what you own, whether that's cash, property, stocks and shares, bonds, whatever it is, minus your liabilities, so your debt. So your net wealth is what's left over after you subtract the assets that you own from your debt. So you cannot have, by definition, net wealth all in debt, because then it wouldn't be your net wealth. And we're going to break down in a minute why using debt responsibly, especially for leverage, really can supercharge your net worth, your net wealth. So we fix that initial misunderstanding. You cannot have debt as part of net wealth by definition. Then he goes on to say that if you aren't cash rich, you're not rich, in my opinion. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw your attention to an article that talks about billionaires, right? These are the richest people in society. As far as I know, there's no trillionaires. Maybe Jeff Bezos will make it there one day, or Elon Musk. But at the moment, billionaires are the richest individuals in our society. Now, what does it say about how billionaires store and manage their wealth? So right here you can see this cash misconception. The average billionaire, guys, holds 1% of their net worth in liquid assets like cash. 1%. The other 99% is not in cash, right? So these guys are billionaires for a reason. So either the billionaires have got it all wrong and they should be holding 99% of their wealth in cash, or they're billionaires for a reason and we should really be taking our cues, because it doesn't matter what type of a person you are as a billionaire. If you've made it to billionaire status, other than inheriting it from, family, if you've made it there through your own work and your own moves, your own financial moves and investments, you're obviously doing something right. So what we see right here is that the average billionaire only holds 1% of their net worth in cash. And then there's another article from the Business Insider.
It's above me now.
An entrepreneur, that's easy for me to say, interviewed 21 billionaires and he found out some useful insights. He basically said that almost all billionaires' wealth lies in the companies that they own. So he's basically saying that the majority of billionaires have made their wealth through the companies that they've set up. So think of Jeff Bezos and Amazon, think of Elon Musk and PayPal, Tesla and SpaceX and all the other stuff that he's doing. It's in the stocks that they own, or it's in real estate and other assets. So when we're talking about real estate, think of Donald Trump. He made a lot of his money, the majority of his money, early on, especially through real estate. Think of the Duke of Westminster, one of the richest property owners in the UK. So what's my point, guys? The point is very few billionaires, and I would put it out there, millionaires, have their wealth held in cash. You don't have to hold your wealth in cash and be cash rich in order to be truly rich. Now, why is that? Let's talk about the financial aspects of this. Wealth is like a tree. It's something that grows. So in order to become wealthy, either you inherit it or you grow it over time. So even if you have inherited it, someone before you has grown it. And when we're talking about growth of financial wealth, what we're really talking about is return on assets. So think of property, for example. When you buy a property, the return, the way that you build wealth is through the rise in the value of that property over time, and also the income that you get from the property via rent over time. Those are your measures of return for property. Let's talk about stocks. The way you become wealthy from stocks is a rise in the value of those stocks over time, and also dividends. Let's talk about owning a business. The way that you become rich and wealthy from owning a business is a rise in the value of the business, and of course the income, the profits that you make from the business. Are you seeing a pattern here? All of those assets, those traditional assets, produce a return over time. When you compare that to cash, cash does produce a return. It's what we know as interest. But if you look across any of the high street banks right now in the UK, at this moment in time, you'll be hard to find a bank that gives you over 2%. You cannot become rich, guys. You cannot become wealthy from 2% per year over your lifetime. It doesn't work like that. The reason why people don't hold their money in cash or hold their wealth in cash is because the returns that you get from investing in other assets, like the ones I just mentioned, is far greater and builds your wealth a lot quicker over time. That's why most wealthy people do not hold the majority of their money in cash. That's why they're not cash rich. Hopefully that helps to explain why you're better off investing in assets rather than holding your money in cash. Not to say, guys, that you shouldn't have a store of cash. Everybody should have a cash reserve. Absolutely. You never know when you're going to lose your job. You never know when a global health pandemic's going to hit. You never know where you're going to have an accident, when your car's going to break down and you have to pay out a load of money. Everybody needs cash, but the majority of your wealth should be in income producing assets. So let's go on to the next part of the comment, and it says, even those with a £1 million property portfolio, it's all debt. Well, again, the way that property works, I now have invested in 4 properties. You cannot buy a property with pure debt. You know, you have to put in a deposit. Usually for buy to let, that's 25%. If it's your own house, talking about 10 to 15% in this current market. So yes, he does have a point that most people cannot afford to buy a property in cash. But I would argue, if you do buy a property in pure cash, that's not a wise thing to do. And let me explain why, because there's an opportunity cost to doing that. So let's say, for example, you have £200,000 in your pocket. There was a mistake at the bank and they transferred 200k into your account. You took the money and you immigrated to Bermuda with the cash, somewhere where the government can't find you. Got 200 grand. Now you could buy a property for £200,000 cash. Great. Never pay your mortgage again and just see that go up in value over time. You know, a good investment, an intelligent thing to investing. Or you could buy 4 properties for £200,000 each, by using a mortgage, debt, leverage, whatever you want to call it. So you put down 25%, okay? So that's 50k, 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 £200,000. But instead of buying one property for £200,000 cash, you now have 4 properties by putting down a 25% deposit for each one and using a mortgage to fund the rest. Now let's say over the next 10 years, all properties across the world go up. Scenario 1, where you bought that property for £200,000. It's now worth £300,000 and you've made £100,000. Happy days, that's a great investment. You made your money, buy yourself a Rolex, go on holiday, get a new car, go to Miami, great. Scenario 2, where you've got those 4 properties, they all go up by £100,000. Exactly the same scenario. You now have 4 properties worth £300,000 each. That's £1.2 million. You have mortgages outstanding on those properties of £600,000 because you paid £50,000 for each one and you took out a mortgage of £150,000 for each one, because they were worth £200,000 when you bought them. So you subtract those mortgages outstanding of £600,000 from the value, which they're now worth of £1.2 million, you now have access, money in your pocket, if you sold those properties at the end of 10 years, of £600,000 compared to £100,000. That is how using leverage, how using debt is a good thing. So when we say that even a £1 million property portfolio, it's all debt, not true, guys. Yes, part of it is debt, but completely discounting the fact that properties, generally speaking, in the UK have gone up in value over the decades, and it's very likely that they will continue to. So using debt responsibly can actually make you richer and increase your net worth over time. And then let's come on to the last part. He's talking about debt. It's designed to keep you a slave. Slavery hasn't gone anywhere. Hashtag slave with benefits. You know, I do agree with him to an extent that, you know, debt, as it was perhaps designed, is designed to keep you in financial servitude to another person until you pay them back. There are a lot of people who aren't able to ever get on top of their debts, right? So I do agree that it can be predatory in many cases. However, we just saw an example where debt can actually help you. So it comes down to the question of good debt versus bad debt, right? So my very simple philosophy is, guys, if you're using debt to earn you a return, i.e. on a mortgage, that is good debt. If you're using debt purely to consume, and I say excessive debt because all of us will probably use debt at some point in our life that's not necessarily to earn money. So for example, we might get a car on finance, right? We might buy a laptop on finance. You know, there are instances in our life where we buy goods to consume on debt. I generally really try not to, but I don't think it's a terrible thing to do. It becomes slavery, as it was put, when you're doing it excessively, where everything you buy is on debt and you're spending way beyond your means. So you're not even able to realistically pay it back. Thank you for watching to the end. Guys, I've put together a property dashboard tool. If you're looking to buy a property in a short or medium term, this dashboard is going to calculate all of the key metrics and figures that you need to know when you're buying a property. It's going to automatically calculate things like your stamp duty costs, your returns, your profits, the future rise in value of your house, and if you're overpaying for that property relative to the UK average, as well as many other useful metrics and figures. The link is in the description below. And now back to the video. So guys, really great comment from the chap who left me that. Guys, I want more of that. Leave me more comments. Sometimes comments equal content, makes my life easier, and it helps me to engage with you guys and talk about wealth building in this way. Really great video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram. I post helpful content on there every other day roughly, and I'll see you guys soon.